an irrational activist. Others remain dormant, factual passages, able to wage war when time call for it. Burn fire upon corporate setting his back, so let's fall forward. See the big picture, don't get stuck on small portraits. Tap resources, just three inner forces. Mind, body, and soul working like piano chords, linking the piece together from the root like Neanderthals. Preserving animalistic behavior when I convert into the cross satanic spiritual savior. Words that I use are the truth if I never gave ya anything else in your life. Remember words that I breathed on this mic. I print people a copy to read what I write. Tell it fast like Mach speed on a bike. Like a native chief, I speak and bring peace with a pipe. Subtle as a thief in the night with beats in the light. Check the blacking out like Slobodan Milosevic. Hold that, take some with you. Eternal pain when New Jerusalem hit you. Fall back, don't press the issue with script, lock, script, check, Bethlehem officials.
Yo, what's going on, people? What is up? It's Bigger Ford and Terrence, and we are here to talk about episode 3 of Tales from the Walking Dead. What up, Terrence? Talk to the people. Tell them about your channel, sir.
Hey, what's going on, humans? Terrence here. I'm from T-Virus Terrence. This morning, I actually had to appeal 3 strikes on my channel, like community guideline strikes, and
really?
I got 2 removed, and there's still 1 left. So what happened was you had some bitch-ass humans that were offended at some of the stuff I said in my videos, and I guess since YouTube is handled by bots, then they decided to do some silly stuff. There were 3 videos where I was talking about. One of them was I was talking about mental strength. The other one I was talking about my life journey, and the other one I was talking about how there are a lot of problems in 2022 and how humans can fix them and the reason why they suffer. So it was like those 3 videos specifically were the ones that got targeted, and then 2 of them are fine, and then the other one still led to 1 strike. So technically speaking, I somehow sidestepped the idea of my entire channel being deleted based upon my quickness and me sending 2 different paragraphs as to why they made a silly mistake in relation to my channel. But other than that, though, everything is good. And on my channel, you can find everything under the sun, as I say. And that does mean everything. So if you go over there, there's a lot of things that will enlighten you and entertain you, assuming that you have the spine to deal with it, because a lot of humans, they can't handle it, apparently.
So wait, when you got the 3 strikes, they took your channel down for a bit then?
Yeah, no? It appeared so, because it was just like your channel has been removed, and then I did my 2 appeals, well, actually 3 separate appeals consisting of 3 different paragraphs, and then 30 minutes later, then they put it back up, and they're like, oh, we're sorry for the inconvenience, but one of your strikes still remains because, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, well, okay, I suppose it's better. But I was just also stating, too, in those paragraphs that it's funny how every single time that I prove myself right and then humans wrong, in a sense that each channel surpasses the other ones in terms of numbers, then that's when they come for me. They don't come for me any other time except for when I pass my old records. That's when they come. So I'm like, the timing is pretty suspect, but I'm used to that kind of stuff from humans. So I'm just like, I will try to deal with it. And then if not, then it is what it is. But at least you managed to remove the 2. You should have took down all 3, but the system is pretty janky. So I was explaining all of that in combination with why there was none of the rules that were violated in the process. Like humans' emotional reactions to things is not indicative of any sort of violation based upon the platform.
But what did they say the violation was?
Oh, you're talking about number 1, they did not explain exactly what I did wrong.
Of course not.
And then one of them, it seemed to be under the hateful speech, but there was no details as to that either. And I'm just like, there's nothing hateful in it, and then, I feel like that's probably why they took, how I got the 3 strikes as a whole, and I was able to, dispute the 2, and then they just kind of combined them together. but there wasn't a whole lot of details because the responses are usually very robotic in nature,
Mm-hmm.
and you could
Mm-hmm.
tell that no living human is looking at that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, yeah. It's ridiculous, man, because they're fucking like any little thing, boy. They take you down, give you a strike or whatever, and it's just getting to be annoying with this YouTube crap. To be honest with you,
Right. And then some,
but
then you got all these other channels that get away with arguably worse in comparison.
mm-hmm.
I'm just like, be
Mm-hmm.
consistent. Because I'm like, if that is what
Mm-hmm.
bothered you, then I'm like, how's all this other shit here? Again, that you could
You
argue is
know,
worse if you want to do comparison. So it's inconsistent, and it's sad, and there is a pattern when it comes to certain levels of creators where they will come after us more, especially if they see that there is some kind of consistent progress. They're like, oh no, we got to stifle that shit, and
mm-hmm.
they'll just like blow you out of existence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
So and then
let's
I
say they
also
had taken down your. Yeah, go ahead.
wait, no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, let's say they had taken down your channel for good. Would you have continued, started over, or would you just said fuck it?
Um, because of the timing of me like getting ready to leave anyway, I probably wouldn't have started another one. It just would have been like I would have continued to just come on panels until the end, just because of the timing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing. Like I was mentioning, the timing is pretty suspect, right? Because the whole
Mm-hmm.
time it's been fine for the most part, and then all of a sudden. So I just think that there's something more at work, and then if not, then it's just a bunch of coincidences. But the pattern
Cool.
has been the same for the last 10 years. It hasn't fluctuated. So when you
Mm-hmm.
have that many different situations, it stops seeming random and coincidental, and it seems like it's some type of messed up collective effort to sabotage.
Yeah, and you need to stop with this talk about leaving YouTube because you know we ain't letting you leave, bro.
Yeah, it's fine. It's like, I've
No, we're
come
not letting
to I've come to
you leave,
expect
bro.
it.
No, no, we're not letting you leave, bro. We're
Wait,
not letting you
so,
leave.
wait, you're breaking up, Nzo. What was the last part?
So what up? What up, Tony? What up, Basco? What's going on? I said you're not leaving YouTube. We're not gonna let you leave, bro.
Yeah, a few months and your boy is gonna vanish,
Mm-mm,
man. But
mm-mm. Not happening. Not happening. Not happening.
yeah, I definitely
I'll even give you a
appreciate the
10-hour fucking stream if that changes your mind. There you go.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
well, I mean, we ain't here to talk about that. We have been here to talk about Tales of the Walking Dead, episode 3. And
Hmm.
what are your initial thoughts on the episode, T?
I thought the episode was cool, but very rushed and too short. Like I think it should have been 2 hours as opposed to the one that they have with commercials that is actually only 42 minutes. Because the character
Really?
Alpha, her
Mm-hmm.
backstory is rich. So I felt that everything went by too fast. I'm like, there's way more to that, and they should have spent more time with her character. I felt, if anything, she
I
should have
thought that,
had the.
yeah, go ahead.
I
Mm-hmm.
felt like she should have had the longest arc out of this little mini series. I think that the character is owed that much based upon the backstory.
Well, I personally think that we will get another episode of her, right? Because I thought it would have ended with her going to the school where she meets Beta, right? So
Right,
we would have seen up until that part, right? So I'm thinking
right.
that maybe they'll continue another episode where we see that stuff. But I
I
pretty
I
much
was
enjoyed this episode. I thought it was good. I thought it
like
was good.
I
Go ahead.
I was thinking that too, except that there's only six. So I'm like, where would they fit that in when the other episodes seem to be based around different random characters? Like that was a slight
Mm,
part that was irritating me because I'm like, how would they wrap the rest of that up? Because it's technically incomplete. Because I'm like, she didn't meet Beta, and then also like making the group stronger. Like there's so many different chapters to that.
hmm. Yeah, but I think if they do another season, then we'll get more. You know, and remember that there was only 6, so we may not see it this season. but I think next season we may get another episode with her because, like you said, there's a
Maybe.
lot more to her backstory.
Maybe. I guess that just depends on if they do another one, because these seem to be like a one and done, and then it might be based off of the response. So I don't know if
Hmm.
they're going to like extend it to another season. But if they do, then I guess that would increase the likelihood. But I just feel like it wasn't a good choice to wait on the idea of it being possible as opposed to just doing it when you have the chance.
Hmm. Well, I wouldn't have mind if it was 2 hours or so, but I understand, you have to get it all out in an hour. And I think it was pretty
Yeah.
good because we learned some shit in this episode too, which I thought was pretty cool. But what were your
Yeah.
positives?
I like Alpha in the episode. That was about it. Like I wasn't caring about the other characters. I just wanted to see Alpha, what she was doing, what she was saying. And then more specifically, there were things that I noticed, like one that she was very reserved and she didn't adhere to any of the human standards, and she doesn't fit in at all. She sticks out like a sore thumb. So like someone like myself, there are like certain types of like signs and body language that I can pick up on to usually assess in a room full of individuals if someone is different, because sometimes the vibes that are given off can vary, but there are similarities of
Hmm.
the the kind of demeanor, the standoffish behavior. So if I were in that same environment, I would more than likely be more drawn to her as opposed to everyone else, just because of the way that she behaves.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know that. I know you would. Um, I thought the daughter was annoying as fuck in this episode. Lydia,
Mm-hmm.
I did not
Yep.
like her in this episode at all. It was just this
Yep.
whiny little girl. I did not like it, or I did not like her. That was to
Yeah.
me was the weakest part of this episode.
Yeah,
What
I
about you?
was I was pretty much with you in that particular sentiment. I was like, I understand like how she turns out later, but I cannot
Mhm.
discount what's being presented in the moment, right? And I'm like, she's so annoying that a part of me wanted her to get bit by a walker and just be done with it. I know that would mess up the
Mhm.
canon,
Mhm.
but
Me
she
too.
was annoying me so much that I was just like,
Yeah,
the
me too.
process for her to get to where we see her later seems to be very far because she's so different here.
Hmm.
So I was like, nah, this daughter is not good.
Well, she's a lot younger too, right?
Yeah, she
She's a
is.
lot
Yeah.
younger here than it looks like. This was like years before she meets Alpha. So when I
Right.
when I mean when before she meets Beta. But when I first seen the episode, I was watching and I'm like, wait a minute, because I didn't know, and I was like, is that Alpha? And I'm like, oh shit, we're getting an Alpha backstory, and I was like, okay, and that's what had me more invested than
Wait,
the other episode, right?
Nzo? Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like you're going in fast forward mode on that last part.
Oh, hold on. Can you hear me now?
I can, but you're still like very
I'm
fast.
still fast. All right, hold on. I think I'm about to shut this. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we are still the same,
Still
unfortunately.
fast. Hold on.
Yeah, and then sometimes with certain words it'll like cut out. Um, you might have to make that adjustment that you did the last time. It might be like a settings thing because that's usually what will happen on my end if there's like some type of issue.
Yeah, I'm just trying to close down the OBS I'm using.
Oh, there you go. Now you perfect. Yep, there you go.
You hear me better now?
Oh yeah, you're perfect now. Yeah,
Or
what'd
did
you
I
do?
cut? Okay. I shut down my OBS.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now you're good. So But yeah, that last part you were saying,
Yeah. Shit, I forgot now.
you were
Do you
saying like
remember
what you,
where I was?
yeah, you were saying that you enjoyed, and then I heard alpha, and then that's when it started
Oh,
glitching.
because I was like, when I was watching the episode, I was like, is this episode about Alpha? And I was like, oh shit, okay. And then when I realized I was more invested than that other
Hmm.
episode that we had previously, right? Because this one
Right,
is more tailored to like a uh ta- um Tales of the Walking Dead story. So I
right,
was like, yeah, this is fine. I was happy with it.
yeah.
I pretty much
Same
enjoyed it.
thing, like because last week's episode, essentially, it just felt like something random, like somebody
Hmm.
just created it on a Tuesday that did not watch anything else associated with it, and it felt disjointed. Um, Unlike with this one, it felt like it belongs in the universe. Like it was just another chapter. You're like, okay, because the tone of it was the same, the coloring, the acting, what was going
Hmm.
on with the walkers, how dangerous they felt, and how the humans were reacting and wanting, oh, we need to survive, and oh, it's dangerous out there. No, we can't, and it fell right in. It actually felt like a Walking Dead episode in the sense that it would be like one of those flashback kind of episodes where you get like a quick backstory, and then
Hmm.
the next episode would just be continuing where we left off with Daryl or something, whatever was happening in
Hmm.
like that main storyline. So I did appreciate how it felt like that, because the way that the episodes feel in relation to each other are very important for consistency.
Absolutely. So what I liked about this episode is we find out that they tried to build a community on a boat, right? They figured, I
Hmm.
guess, if they're on water, they don't really have to deal with the zombies. So they kind of are infiltrated by another group, and Alpha knew. She didn't trust the dude, right? She tells you
Right,
right away, I don't trust him. And even when we don't even know who he is, she's just sitting at the bar talking to him, and it's like, yeah, I don't have a good vibe about this guy. And I like that because I'm the type of same way, if I'm talking to somebody, like for the first time I talk to them and really be like, there's something weird about this guy or this girl.
right.
And usually 9 times out of 10, I am right, So
Yep.
I was like, okay, that's good that she had that type of instinct. And then, yeah, they end up trying to take over the boat. And she's the one that pretty much, well, she saved the boat, but they also destroyed the boat at the same time. And I was just like, maybe you could have tried to, you know, save the boat and kill these guys. But that's The Walking Dead for you. You know what I mean?
You you know it's interesting to your point. The idea of being able to read individuals, because we already know that she's a leader kind of character,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole point of a leader or someone in a position of strength or that will eventually gain that position is someone that's good at defending and reading others, being able to be on the jump of a situation before anyone else is aware. That's
Mm-hmm.
part of the guidance process, right? Because then once you have your leadership, they are looking for you to lead them in the right direction, for you to be able to assess threats, for you to teach them how to do the same. So when she was, communicating with that dude, like, nah, I don't trust him, and she was like, where's my daughter, right? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
like how, even though there wasn't like a lot of outward sensitive emotion for her daughter, she still cared, but it was like, Alpha, I'm not really against what you're doing per se, but if you don't apply a little more emotion, your daughter might run away by default, even though
Mm-hmm.
you have technically been right this entire episode. Because sometimes, like, especially with kids and stuff, and I know this, like, when I used to be a kid, and the stuff that I wanted that I did not get, and stuff like that. So, when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to kids, they don't really care all the time that you're right as much as it is that they want to feel loved and accepted, not so much that they're being talked at or that you are ignoring the things that they want or the things that they're saying,
Right.
so yeah.
Because if you look at it, right? It don't look like Alpha pretty much loves her daughter. It just looks like she, trying to protect her or whatever, but like
Right.
she has no emotion towards her daughter, basically. It's
Right.
just like, no, we're gonna do this and that, and I don't care if you like it or not. Her daughter was crying at one point. There's no, compassion or anything. It's just like, fuck this. This is what we're doing. I'm trying to save you. So it
Right.
gets to the
Right.
point where it's like, are you really trying to save her because you love her, or are you just trying to be the alpha that you end up becoming? So it's interesting.
Right. Good points because the thing is, like, I think it was a little bit of both. Like, the love part was just buried underneath because I think because of her experiences and then the type of humans that she met, she was just like, I cannot allow the weak, sensitive side to take over because that's how we die. So and then she let the alpha nature take over, just survival, pay attention to everything. We ain't got time for that. We could do it later. And I'm just like, that is a large part of what makes her a great leader, but not necessarily the best mother when it comes to compassion.
Hmm.
So again, as I mentioned, these things are important. So and it can make the difference of a situation to where a child will trust you, want to be by your side, as opposed to running away and not believing you, and then thinking something that maybe they shouldn't be thinking. But because you didn't encourage them in the opposite direction, a lot of that is your own fault. Like, why is your daughter trying to run away? Why is she scared of you? Why doesn't she believe that you love her? It's because you're not doing and saying certain things, regardless of what you think you should be doing. Like so, I think that the way that they were able to work that in to the 40 minutes is a good narrative because you and I, since we've seen The Walking Dead with the alpha and her daughter, right?
Hmm.
There was a kind of interaction that was still there as she was older, except the daughter was, a little bit more mature. And she
Hmm.
obviously got used to a lot of stuff as we saw, like even within that 40 minutes. So,
Right. And even like you said, right, because the daughter was more connected to the other woman, right?
right,
The daughter
right.
was more connected to her because she was nice. She was doing birthday parties for them and,
Hmm.
giving her dresses and all kinds of stuff. So she was a lot more connected to her and didn't even want to stay with Alpha at one point. She was like, "Oh, I'm gone. I don't want
Right,
to be here. I want to stay with them." And Alpha
right.
already knew, like, these people are weak. They're gonna get killed. So I need to protect
and,
you. That's exactly what
and,
she
and
did.
and she was right because I was like, okay, so like how you said like how she could have made different choices, right? I
Hmm.
do like how she just came out, slit the dude's throat, shot at the other
Hmm.
dude, jumped off the boat.
Hmm.
Like she was
Hmm.
so quick, and it's like
Hmm.
now when it comes to like you and yours, like your immediate, daughter, husband, your friend, or whoever, that is great for saving you and that person. But if there's others, then they in turn will have to deal with the fallout. But obviously, her main concern was her daughter, and her quick reactions got them away safely. And the other
Hmm.
individuals, she just kind of was like, you didn't listen, you shouldn't have trusted them, and all this stuff. So she was just like, had the mindset of it's your fault. And I'm like, in a way, it is because you shouldn't just be trusting individuals that quickly, especially without vetting them long enough. Like you're risking negativity,
Hmm.
which Alpha sensed immediately. And it wasn't even this long vetting process. It was like, I don't like that dude. That's a problem,
Yeah, absolutely. Because I said he was only on the boat for like what, a couple months, is that if I'm not mistaken?
Right, right.
So
Something
he
brief in comparison to everyone else.
right. And it's funny because even when Alpha confronts him, you know what I mean? He's like, no, no, I'm not doing this, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know why she took the knife if she wasn't planning on using it. That's what she said. Maybe she had a different plan with it. Maybe it was for protection. But he sees a knife in her pocket and he just jumps off the boat. He's like, she's trying to kill me. And then the way Alpha was like, no, it's not true, and blah 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 blah, and I don't trust him, and he was the one that did this. For the girl, the other girl that was there, can't remember her name right now, but as long as Alpha's been on that boat, she should have trusted Alpha more than trusted that dude. you know. But I guess she figured because of
Right,
her instinct, she was, oh, I'm right, and don't worry, he's not like that. And sure enough, he comes back on the boat and has everybody fucking hostage.
right. No, I agree. Yep.
And he has
Also,
everybody hostage. Yeah, you can hear me?
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. And he has everybody hostage, and he's bringing in his own crew so that they can take
Hmm.
over the boat, you know? But I think
Right.
his plan was dumb because he was like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, I'll bring my people over here and we'll all live happily." And I'm like, "You just took a boat full of people hostage. You think you're going to be living happily and everything's going to be a-okay?" Right? So I found that a
Right.
little bit weird with his plan. He should have killed everybody and took the boat for himself if that's what he
Right.
really wanted.
Because he's dumb. Because I'm like, first of all, when it to be real about this, when it comes to forgiveness, it ain't really in large abundance as humans would like to say, especially under those
Mhm.
circumstances. You
Right.
don't know if they're gonna like put some rat poison in your food one day,
Mhm.
just go
Mhm.
along with it because you threatened their lives and you took over a place where they felt safe. So I'm just like the likelihood of everybody just living happily ever after singing Kumbaya, it's like 10%, maybe not even that. So for you to think that it could be that after you did it the way you did, it doesn't make any sense. And like you said, that's what makes him dumb. But
Mhm.
to to the other point that you made about when she had the knife, like I'm not too sure, but I think it was just an instinct thing, like just in case.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Like
there are things
protection,
that
right?
right, or if she
Mhm.
needed to use it to get the daughter and somebody has her or something, and then she just comes
Mhm.
up and damn, right? So I think it was a combination of multiple things in that to her, that was just the right thing to do. And then everyone else was just acting a certain way because of this. So when it comes to like Alpha or me or anyone else that like doesn't exactly fit in or we could be deemed as weird, there are behavioral patterns. So even if like you're amongst individuals for a while, they're still uncertain of everything. Like, oh shit, I've never seen him in this situation. What is he gonna do? What is she gonna do? Like they have all these questions. So someone else that comes in that appears to be more like them, it seems like they just lean more towards them. There's like, well, I can identify with them. I just like I don't know what to do in relation to this person. And they forget, okay, you have to also factor in other things, even the stuff that you're not sure about. Okay, how
Oop. Terrence cut out. I don't know if it was me or if it was him.
person done
Okay.
anything? Have they done anything to where you should once they ask themselves these questions and then they answer them and the answer is no, then there's no reason for them to have that kind of response over, someone that just got there. It's weird.
I agree. And Perp said Negan, Alpha, and she Sha. I don't know who that is. Are the best Walking Dead villains. I agree with you 100%. Can't forget the governor though. The governor was pretty good too.
Wait, she and Shaw. Wait, what?
It says Perp. I'm sorry. Perp said Negan, Alpha, and SHA. Oh, I think he meant Shane because there's an N missing.
Oh, yeah. Shane. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 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 no. I think I said this last week. Fuck Shane. Shane was a bitch. Fuck Shane. I was glad Shane got it too, bro. Shane was a bitch. Shane go fucking start fuck the man's wife, right? And I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, Shane didn't think he was dead, did he?
Anzo, I'm not sure if you're aware, but it's still clear. But
Can you hear me?
get quiet, but then
Hello?
you're clear.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Wait, say
Okay.
something.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool. I was saying, yeah, he said Shane. I was saying that, yeah, Shane was a bitch, man. Shane slept with the man. Shane slept with the man's wife, and then when the man came back, Shane tried to kill the man and everything. Yeah, fuck Shane. I don't like Shane at all. Was he good? He was all right, but I don't like him. I don't like Shane. What about you?
Yeah, Shane.
You like Shane?
Shane is definitely one of my favorite characters in that universe. Like I like John Bernthal a lot, and that he portrayed that character was phenomenal. Even though if I were in those circumstances, he definitely would have been dead as soon as I would have found out, what he did,
Facts.
like
100%.
immediately.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm very big on the idea of betrayal, and to me, like I feel like there's a difference between if I just happen to start interacting with someone and they betray me. It's like, well, you just got here, so it's more
Mm-hmm.
understandable. I mean, it's still gonna suffer the consequences, but it's more understandable. And if it's like this long term friend and then he or she does something along those lines or worse, then I'd be like, yeah, you gotta die, because I can't let this be a precedent, because then the other humans might think they could do the same thing. You got to send them a
Mm-hmm.
message. It's just this whole ripple effect.
Damn right. Damn right. Shane had to go. Shane had to go. But Negan and Alpha, I agree with you. I loved
Hmm.
Alpha and The Walking Dead, man, because she was methodical with it. She took Daryl and she said, "I'm not going to do anything with you, but look." And she looked over this mountaintop and she had nothing but zombies just waiting, bro. That horde was
Hmm.
unbelievable.
Oh,
So I like,
absolutely.
yeah, I like
I
Alpha.
think like it's cool because we also can't forget about the governor. Like he was just like
Hmm.
he was like
Yeah,
one of those
Governor of Fire.
he was more of like a over time they kept revealing more sinister stuff, and then you just like
Hmm.
kept thinking like what else has he done and what is he gonna do? And because of that, I think that's also a nice recipe for a villain, as opposed to like with Negan, he just overtly did a bunch of stuff right away. And then, like you said, with Alpha, she was more methodical, patient and
Hmm.
planning. Negan was just like in your face, death, death, take over your shit,
Hmm.
torture.
Hmm.
It just was like, oh yeah, there's
Kind
no
of like
doubt that.
Terrence.
But I'm a nice young man though. Like
Hmm. 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 Kind of like Terrence. Death, take over your shit. Come inside. This is mine. I'm taking it.
I mean,
That's
I
that's
must admit that there would be a little bit more conversation, because I'd be curious to see if like I could possibly, recruit some individuals. But if they happen to give me any lip, or if I don't like the look on their face, then all those
they're dead,
opportunities
right?
are out the window. Well,
Hmm.
yeah, because if I don't, take them out, then they might try to come back later. We all know about humans later on. They just somehow they got 10 more people with them, or they're extra motivated on that Tuesday. I'm like, no, we can't be having that. Because I try to be nice about this. I go, look, all I want is your supplies. And if they like, nah, like, this is for our family, then I'll be like, yep. So you don't think I should take care of my family?
Well, let's be real. That was Negan's biggest mistake, right? Is he
Right.
seen a lot of people as assets and he didn't kill the right people. You know what I mean? He left Rick alive. And leaving Rick alive is gonna come back, right? So there's certain people that you can't leave alive. You gotta kill them right away. And he thought he was
I
being
agree.
smart by torturing them, Rick, instead of fucking killing him.
You're right. And also, like, because it's like when you make a statement, sometimes you just got to finish it and follow through. Because it's like, first of all, if that would have been me, the show would have been over, because they all would have been dead for their crimes. I'm like, you decided to blow up my people with a rocket launcher, then you went to another whole separate camp and killed them in their sleep. I'm just like, you just took out my brothers and sisters. So now your whole crew got to die. If anything, it would have been maybe I'd have left Rick alive, but I'd have killed everyone else. And then it just would have been to make a point to him, like, now that all your people are dead, you somewhat know how I feel. Now, granted, all my people are not all dead, but you took out a lot of them. So now that yours are dead and you felt that pain and loss and you got done shining my shoes, now it's time for you to die. So I would just kill him later, is how I'd handle that.
Yeah, but they let Rick live too long. You know what I mean? That
You're
was the
you're
problem.
you're right. You're right. Yeah,
Rick
playing
finishes his.
playing playing games can have consequences, as we saw, right? Because sometimes with humans, like you have the ones where they get broken and they stay that way, and then you got the ones that get broken, they come out of it and they're just a little
Hmm.
bit stronger. And I'm just like, you have to be careful to not allow for those kinds of possibilities, because it's too risky, especially with a leader. So usually, they can, come out of that kind of stuff. I'm like, I don't want to provide that person with more motivation. I'm like, they gotta go. I keep a nice little eye on them. But oh, you killed this. Probably like, yeah, well, hey, y'all killed my friend and stuff. I don't know what you want me to tell you. It just seems to be the right punishment in this particular season. You guys are the villains, and I'm just getting my rightfully owed revenge. And
Mhm.
sometimes in life, this as far as the show goes, and then that's it. Till Terrence showed up, and then that's it. No.
Because Rick was broken.
Oh,
Negan broke
absolutely.
Nick. Negan broke
Hmm.
Rick, and then Nick got his balls back. Once he got his
Right.
balls back, it was wartime. So
Right. He broke
yeah,
Daryl too briefly. Like Daryl bounced
yeah,
back quicker than Rick, but it's
yeah,
like
yeah. He did.
you took the leader and his lieutenant and you just snapped them up, and then both
Hmm.
of them came back. It just they at different times. So that's why I was like, oh shit. Like okay, not they both good. And then Daryl, he gave the appearance that he was still broken, but then we knew as an audience that
Hmm.
he was just pretending. Then it was like, oh shit, no,
Yeah,
nope, nope, he's dangerous.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
dangerous. Yeah.
So, what did you not like about this episode? What were your negatives?
Um, that it was too short. Like
Hmm.
because when it ended, there just was still too many chapters that were unexplored, and I'm like, this is too cool for you to give it the same amount of time and treatment. Because the other ones, they felt like okay, they're one-off stories. They could show up again, they could not. But with Alpha being such a prolific character in the mythology, you would think that she would get a little extra something, something. Like how they did with Morgan when he was kind of off on his own and then he had more
Hmm.
time. It would have been better if they would have gave her like a movie in that sense. And then it ended like how you said, the whole how she met Beta and then they're formed and then we know okay, now it's gonna lead into this arc that we've already seen.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's pretty much it. I just thought, it should have been longer.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I was pretty much enjoying the episode. I would have liked to have seen more, right? I would have liked, well, we seen how she pretty much met Beta because she met him in that school there, but how
Right,
she got there, right? Because that episode starts off with her running into the school, right? So there's a
right,
period of time where we don't actually know what happened to her. And I thought that's what they would show a little bit more of in this
right.
episode, but they didn't, right? So
And then also the process that she snapped up the leader and became the leader. You know what I mean? Because then of
hmm.
course,
Hmm.
Beta
Right,
wasn't there. I'm
right.
like, so it's that whole process. And then because Beta was different. Like we saw, like in brief little flashbacks, she had to win him over. So I'm like, this was
Hmm.
a whole like process and stuff. I'm like, you could have did. They actually could have did a mini series just about that. Like it could have been six
Hmm.
episodes about the rise of Alpha, and it would have been completely appropriate because she has a lot of different segments of how she got like that before she met, our main characters in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, absolutely. And the mask part though, I thought that was
Right,
pretty cool. We found because I had to go back and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't remember her mask having blonde hair, but it did.
right, yeah,
And
and it
we
just
the mask was the fucking was that her? That wasn't her sister, was it?
I don't think so. I'll probably have to look at it again. I don't think so, but because I was thinking like because right before they showed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember how it looked? Now we knew this wasn't going to happen, but it's just the fact that it almost did. Like when we saw that, Alpha when she's like, "Come here," telling her daughter to come, and then she wouldn't listen, right? And then she had to
Mm-hmm.
take out the walkers, and then she was kind of coddling her, and then she was like,
Mm-hmm.
"I can hear the voices and stuff," and then we see that Alpha started crying, right? So I was like, "Ah, see,
Yeah.
there's there goes that love right there." See, like, yep. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
sometimes
Mm-hmm.
in life, it just makes certain things come out, and then we saw that she was about to stab Ronzo. She's about to end her pain, you know,
Mm-hmm.
maybe do that to herself after. She was like, I didn't make it in time. I'm sorry. And then she
Mm-hmm.
heard the voices too, and then that's when she stopped. I was like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
that I like how that was handled. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I completely forgot about that part too, right? Because the daughter's like, I hear people talking, and I'm like, to be honest with you, I didn't think it was the whispers. I thought just the daughter was like, going crazy, and maybe that's where Alpha got the idea for it. But yeah, then Alpha was about to kill her daughter, and
Yeah.
like leave her live, and she's like, oh shit, and then you see a bunch of whisperers there. So she wasn't even the one that started the whisperers. However she took it over, that's another thing that we could have learned too, right? How she
Right. We
became the
learned that because we didn't know that. I thought she was the one that came up with that shit, but it was like
yeah, so did I.
she what she did was is expand it and evolve it, right? Because
Right.
there's obviously a process. Because sometimes you can have someone that starts something, and then you can have someone that essentially makes it famous and makes it better and stuff
Make
like
it
that.
better. Yeah.
So I think that's what she did because sometimes when something first starts, it might be flawed or there were things that were overlooked, and then somebody steps in there like, I think we could make this better, and this is what I'm going to
Hmm.
do. And then, obviously there was a disagreement with the leader, and then Alpha
Hmm.
snapped her shit up because it was also
Hmm.
a female, right?
Yeah.
So I would like to have seen that too. Like, what happened? Was it just she
Hmm.
decided to do it, or were they cool at first, and then maybe she thought she was getting too close to the daughter? Like, what led to her getting her head chopped off, essentially?
Right. And then using her fucking face as the skin. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because Alpha had the skin on a pole, which
Hmm.
obviously it was sewed up in the back, so you could tell that that's what she was using. So it's like,
Right.
oh, that's some shit we could have learned, right?
Right. And then remember how like kind of like little nitbits we saw, like, okay, she was bald, and then she was talking to
Mm-hmm.
somebody, right? And I was just like, I wonder
Mm-hmm.
who she's talking to. Like, maybe Beta, maybe somebody she's about to kill or something.
I
And
thought
it
I thought
just
it was beta at first. Yeah.
yeah. See, I was running different things through my mind because it was just like, okay, and then it's gonna reveal that okay, she's with them, and then they're gonna go off and snap up everybody else. But it was just merely like a beginning part. It's just okay. She just barely shaved her head, and I was like, what was the process for that? Because I'm like, it seemed like she had a certain way of thinking before, and then upon meeting the whisperers, then she kind of changed even more. And then
Mm-hmm.
like, did she become psychotic at that point? And then it's like, there's too many questions and shit. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
just essentially like making stuff up because they didn't show us everything. We just now have more questions because now we're like, okay, well, she didn't start that. Like, where's all these gaps and stuff? Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I
Right.
feel like it was a it was a missed opportunity. It was wasted that you did that, and then you leave us wanting more with more questions.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think they could have done a little bit more. I wasn't disappointed with what they did, to be honest with you.
Right.
Um, because I there's always an opportunity to go back and show us more, right? If they really want to go in there. So I wasn't disappointed with that part, but I do understand where you're coming from, where it's like, well, we could have seen more. Why did she chop off the leader's head? You know what I mean? Why did she do this? Why did she do that? So what
Yeah, why
happened
why did
to
she shave her head? Is like
right?
what was the process of all that? And then how was she communicating with her daughter at that point? How did it change? Was you just like, you
Hmm.
gonna do what I
Hmm.
say or I'm gonna kill you? Like, did it get more aggressive? Like, and then how did she get the rest of the group to fall in line? Like, after she killed the leader, did she like threaten to kill them
Right.
too, or did they just think, oh man, she's beast, so we'll just follow her now? Like, what? See, I just the more I keep thinking
Hmm.
about it, then right.
Was
So
Alpha there by then? You know what I mean? Like,
right,
obviously Alpha was there by then, right?
right, right,
Alpha would have
right,
had to have been there because she wasn't with the Whispers when she met Alpha.
right, right,
So
and
maybe that's yeah.
so it was just one of
Mhm.
those things because I'm like, you're literally dealing with an episode where you have other characters, but you really only care about one, and it just really
Mhm.
didn't matter who died and stuff because you knew Alpha's gonna be fine, her daughter's gonna be fine. So it's just she's gonna get away from these people. So it's either gonna be that she leaves them or they get killed. But because of that, it can only go down in so many different ways. And
Mhm.
with that, then you get over to the rest of it. It's like, okay, once she leaves from these people in whatever way, then how do you get to the rest of the stuff that we know follows subsequently after that, based upon what the Walking Dead has given us? Because these things are important. So The reason why I said that it's a wasted opportunity is because the Walking Dead universe in itself is not getting any more popular, right? And then like how a lot of humans have already dipped away from it. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like they shouldn't be treating it as there's going to be a next time, when each opportunity should be used to get the most bang to bring those people back or to bring in new people.
Yeah, I understand that.
So, that's kind of how I was thinking about it, cuz I'm like, they'll be fine, but it's like it's starting to dwindle, and you always want to make sure that the fire is very big and pronounced. So that
Mm-hmm.
way, if you talk to someone about it, if they already then detach themselves, they may not feel the need to come back. But depending on what they do, then it might be, oh shit, that's intriguing. They went over this and that. Then okay, I'll check that out, and then maybe that leads into other stuff. Versus it being like, oh, it's cool, and then they just kind of will be dismissive of it because it's not enough to pull them back in. So that's why I think that when they have opportunities like that, they should really do it, especially something like that with an established character.
Yeah, I feel you. There's other characters we could learn about too. So if they do another season, they could pretty much do one. I would prefer them stick to doing that instead of doing that shit that they did last week, right? Just give us episodes of characters that maybe have died and we would have liked to see more of them. You give them a little backstory or something like that, because I would have loved to see a backstory with shit. What was the not Tyrese? Was it Tyrese? The one that saved Rick's
Uh,
baby?
I think it was Tyree. You talking about the big black dude with the beard?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Tyrese.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I would have loved to see a backstory with him. You know what I mean?
yeah. Um, I feel like I'm open to certain things, and then in terms of my overall excitement, it's really just circumstantial because, like with the end of The Walking Dead, I'm excited to see how it ends. And then
Mm-hmm.
everything else is like I'm watching because I'm already invested in the universe. And then
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
excitement levels will go up or down depending on who and what they're focusing on. And then if they give me what I want, and then after that, then I just kind of assess it and be objective about it. Like, okay, what does this actually do for the overall universe at this point in
Mm-hmm.
time? Because it's been around for like 10 some odd years or something like that, and it's still going, even though the main one is getting ready to die off. You still have all these other spin-off types of areas. So the dwindling down effect is there, and it's just like, how are they going to keep this afloat? And you definitely want to make sure that you don't just do passable material. You want your stuff to make a statement, so that
Yeah.
way it can get out there for everyone to discuss again. Because otherwise, you're just going to be it's just another episode within your universe, and then that will
Right.
lead to it being done because the
And you
interest.
got to start coming up with like a lot more original stories. Because if you're gonna do these series, like the one with Negan and Maggie, and then the one with Daryl and Rick, Daryl and Carol, they could get very repetitive if they're doing the same kind of thing with these two series. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's another thing, is that when it comes to the drama, the human characters, this is good, but it also could be bad in the sense that
Mm-hmm.
humans want more action with the zombies. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to find a balance, but what you also have to do is it has to feel different, because otherwise there's going to be
Right.
characters in the scenario. Okay, they're trying to get
Mm-hmm.
the food, they're trying to go to this camp, get away from that camp. They got to stop them because they took this person's daughter, and it will feel like more of the same. And even
Mm-hmm.
if that more of the same is good in the context, the repetitive nature
But
can
okay,
become
that.
boring. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
and if it becomes boring, that's when people drift off. They're
Well,
like, you're not really
right.
doing anything to keep me coming back because I already know what you're gonna do. There's no surprise factor anymore.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What would you grade this episode then?
Are we doing like numbers or letters?
Either or. Whichever one you prefer.
Okay. I would say, let's say an 8 out of 10, like a solid B.
Same number I have. I give it an 8 out of 10 too. Right? It's not perfect. I didn't hate it, but like you said, it's a missed opportunity to put some things in there that we could have that I would have liked to have seen.
Oh
Right.
man, like I would have, because I could already, like, when it ended, right?
Hmm.
It kind of was like a whiplash effect. It just ended right when you were, she, oh, the whispers. You're like, oh shit. So they were there before, and you
Right.
already to that height point, and then they just stop it real quick. So it's like a whiplash, and my neck is hurting, and I'm like, well damn, like, how you gonna get me going like that? Then snatch it away, and I know next week gonna be something different. It's like,
Hmm.
it's cool,
Hmm.
but it can be slightly irritating, right? And I'm just like, I would have loved to have seen it going into that next hour, and then it just be like, hey, come back from the commercial, they just see just Beta there, and they're like discussing how to snap someone up. I'm just like, it was just the full circle effect would have got it to that, 10 out of 10 kind of thing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree. I agree
uh,
with you 100%. I want to ask you real quick though. Did you watch Ring of Power yet?
wait, which one?
Ring of Power, the Lord of the Rings one.
No, 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 definitely not. No.
It's
Did
fucking
you?
garbage.
Yeah,
Garbage.
I saw the trailer, and I was just like, I'll just stick to the movies. Yeah.
Garbage. Hey, listen, man. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, right? And I like to see,
Mhm.
my people in movies and stuff. But to see black
Mhm.
people in
Mhm.
Lord of the Rings seemed weird. I'm sorry. It was just pretty weird to me. I'm like,
it
no, that don't seem
and
right.
I forget what my friend showed me. It was like out of context, but it was like a scene, and it just seemed like, okay, there's a lot of black people, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
was just
Mm-hmm.
like, we both were just like, it seems like there's way more than there should be in this time period and in this context. Like, it felt off, like weird. And I was like,
Extremely weird.
I couldn't tell if it was like because it was the scene that I was seeing, but it was like I already didn't have interest in it, but it was just kind of weird. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, maybe I know better if I watch the whole thing, but I'm like, I'll stick to the movies. He was like, yeah, T man, he's like, I didn't seen it, man. I don't know if you would like it. And I'm like, well, I didn't like the trailer. Sometimes you could watch the trailer and then watch it, but oh man, this shit is fire. But
Mm-hmm.
I had a feeling with that one. I'm like, I don't think so. It
Yeah.
didn't excite me. There was nothing there like for me to be a fan of the films, right? And then I
Mm-hmm.
even like the Hobbit stuff too.
Hobbits. Me
You
too.
know,
Me too.
obviously the Lord of the Rings, that's the one. But with all that, there was an excitement that was there. I went to see all the Hobbits in the theater. Wait, did I see the
Me
third one?
too.
I know for sure I saw the first two. I don't remember if I saw the third one in the theater. But anyway, the point is that I had seen these kinds of films for years, multiple times, right? Different friends and all this other stuff. Like, oh, that's cool. And then when they had the extended Lord of the Rings versions of the
Mm-hmm.
movies, we
Mm-hmm.
watched those and shit. And then
Mm-hmm.
I remember, if I remember correctly, we had binged them over a weekend. It was like we started like Saturday in the morning, and then we were done by like Sunday evening and stuff. So that was cool. But there was a anticipation and excitement, and then when I saw the trailer for that, I was just like, just nothing. I didn't chuckle. I didn't clap. It was just kind of like, this might be okay, but I don't care.
Yeah.
It was like one of those kinds of reactions. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I should be feeling like that with Lord of the Rings. I was like, if anything, I should have clicked on that, and then the first 30 seconds, like, yep, see, this is why I enjoyed the movies, and then boom. But I didn't have that reaction.
Yep. Neither did I, bro. I was like, not
then
feeling
I
this whatsoever.
Then I rewatched it the next day. I was like, maybe I was tired or something. I was just coming up with my own excuses. I was like, maybe it was just the wrong day. And then I rewatched it, and then I was just like, damn, I'm definitely not tired. There's nothing wrong with today. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's,
is it?
it's it's not worth it.
so what?
It's not
So what do
worth it.
you? So when you were watching it, like, you didn't. no, nothing, huh? You were just like,
No, I didn't feel it anything. The only thing that was pretty cool was there was this creature that they were fighting one of episode one, but other than that, and then I watched like a little bit of episode two, and I was just like, nah, I'm done. I'm done with this. Just like I'm pretty much almost done with She-Hulk,
oh
cause
my God, man, I should have stopped after the first episode, man. I was
mm,
just like, for me, for me to come out, like say the Savage She-Hulk, right? 1980s, and then you go
mm-hmm,
into like the
mm-hmm,
sensational She-Hulk. I like that character so much. She was cool, and she was just like every chance she got, like, oh, you don't want to mess with me because I'm the Savage She-Hulk, and then she just would snap up the bad guys, and she was trying to
mm-hmm,
find Bruce because it was like she had control, but then it started getting harder for her, and she's like, I gotta contact my cousin. He knows how to deal with this, but where is he? And he was always on a run or fighting some heroes or something. Like he always had to do something. And while he was also trying to figure out how to get himself in check, so she had to learn how to deal with her own problems. And then she was trying to help people as a lawyer. And it just was very cool and engaging. Like even me being a male, I was just like, yo, She Hulk is dope. And then when I watched the
mm-hmm.
show, I'm just like, what is this agenda stuff? She just complains all the time. She hates her name and oh, I can't be connected to him. I'm better than him. I ain't gotta listen to him. There's no stakes in the show because she beat her villain in like 2 seconds. I'm like, what is the point of
Mm-hmm.
all this?
And then they had some weak ass fucking villains in this one. I'm like, what
Right.
the fuck? Who the fuck are these guys? Like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? And they made a joke out of it. And then,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
just because they have Megan the Stallion in it, they got to show her twerking
Right.
with no fucking ass whatsoever. I'm like, bro, what is this crap, man? Now I get
Yeah,
it. It was an
it's
after credit
weird.
scene, and I guess it was supposed to be for fun or funny, but it wasn't funny at all. It was not funny. Like,
But yeah,
there's
like
nothing.
it
Yeah,
was
go ahead.
just weird, man. Like having Megan the Stallion there was just like cringy because I'm like, what is the point? You know what I mean? Like
Mhm,
what's the point of this other than to try to boost the ratings? Like
mhm,
it's weird.
mhm,
I'm like, you wouldn't really need that if She-Hulk was being She-Hulk from the comics, because as
mhm,
she is, she's already cool. She's fun, and but just in the show, I'm just like, I don't. What is this? And then it just seemed like the male characters are just dumb, and they say the weirdest stuff, like, "I'm gonna go talk to it." I'm just like,
mhm,
who says
mhm,
that? I'm like,
mhm.
I've been around asshole guys, and I have yet to hear a dude to address a female. I'm gonna go talk to it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just it's
Mhm,
weird, and it just
mhm.
I don't like the male characters. And then when they presented Abomination, I was like, look, man, y'all are really testing my patience. I'm like, where's the threats and the problems here? And then how did
For real.
Hulk just forgive him that fast and stuff? I'm like, what?
Mhm,
Like he
mhm.
tried to kill him and stuff, and then he was just like, oh, I was on the orders from the government. I was like, no, they told you to stand down, and you was like, no,
Mhm,
I'm the
mhm,
strongest there is, and that was a whole
mhm,
like 10-minute
mhm,
fight. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And
mhm,
then he was picking up civilians and like tossing them like rag dolls, throwing taxis.
mhm.
I was like, when did Ross tell you to do all that? Because even with
Exactly.
Ross, like in his desperation to get the Hulk and get his DNA and stuff, when he saw what Abomination was doing, he's like, okay, we got to step it back.
We
Like,
gotta
hey,
stop
let
him.
me,
Yeah, yeah.
right, we got to stop him.
Mhm,
Like, I created that, stand down. And then it got out of hand for him. And then it was like,
mhm.
remember at the end, they were there and Hulk saved them. Remember, because the helicopter was going to blow up. He did
Yeah,
that clap
yeah.
and it blew it away. I
Mhm,
was like, okay, so he saved Ross, his daughter, all the men that were in there. And then they all were
mhm.
staring at him and they didn't arrest him. It was just like, okay, well, I still don't like you, but you did stop the thing I created that got out of control. You did save me and my daughter, and you did save the city as well because he would have definitely kept going. I don't think he would have stopped at the Hulk. He'd have been like, I'm Abomination, and he just doing all this extra stuff, and he probably would have beat the crap out of Ross just because. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
Yep.
I don't see how you go from that to Namaste and doing all these haikus and stuff. I'm like, why did you do that? Like, he's not a
Well,
problem.
it looks to me like they're gonna be using him for Thunderbolts, maybe, So I guess they
Right.
had to find a way to get him out of the jail or something like that. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm just
Right.
not interested in this series at all. It's
Right. Cause
not
and then even
interesting.
like remember Wong's reason for getting him out? I'm like, that was stupid
Mhm.
too. I'm like,
Mhm.
how irresponsible is that of a sorcerer supreme to
Mhm.
take out
Mhm.
somebody that had the
Because you need an
ability?
opponent. You're right.
Right, you need an opponent to fight. I'm like, you mean to tell me all that magic and you couldn't figure something out that was safer?
Mhm.
You couldn't. I'm
Mhm.
like, you with the sorcerer supreme Monzo, I'm telling you right now, he could have conjured up something fake that looked
Mhm.
real to everyone else, and then when it was
Mhm.
done, have that shit disappear behind the scenes, and then nobody would know. They
Mhm.
go, oh my god, that was a great fighter. Where did he come from, Wong? I don't know.
Mhm.
I mean, he just showed up. I'm like, I thought of that in a couple seconds. You mean to tell me the sorcerer supreme with all them books and stuff, they can't figure nothing out? That's, to me, that was lazy and weird. I didn't like that.
Neither did I. Neither did I,
It's
bro.
dangerous. That's why I don't want him to be Sorcerer Supreme. I'm like, look, Wong, I like you, but that don't make no sense, man. What's to say that you're not gonna randomly do something with another villain because I don't know, you need to increase the views on your Facebook profile or something weird. Like,
And not only that, what up, Murder Hornet Returns? How you doing? But not only that, right? He's getting on Doctor Strange for the things that he did, and you
mm-hmm.
fucking letting fucking Abomination out of jail, bro. Like really?
Right. That is a great
And
point.
then,
Because
and then you say that you were going to give him asylum in the temple. I'm like, what?
right.
So you weren't even going to bring him back?
right. Like, see, great points. Cause look, Doctor Strange, while he was messing up and stuff, right? It's like there are other ways that he could have did it, but it's the point of like he did it to try to help, right? Help his
Mm-hmm,
friend, help
mm-hmm,
Spider-Man and stuff like that. Okay, let me help out my boy and stuff. Probably shouldn't be doing this, but let me just help him. In Wong's case, it had nothing to do with helping anyone or the world. It was just a selfish thing,
mm-hmm,
just so that way he could look good. And then
mm-hmm,
after doing that wrongdoing, you're talking about that he was going to have this man be in asylum to provide him sanctuary, and this dude was an established fucking murderer and villain and stuff. I'm like,
mm-hmm.
what's to say that when you were out there getting the likes up on your Facebook page that he wouldn't just escape and kill some more people? Like, how do you know about all this? Because his
Exactly.
whole thing was that he knew about him because of what happened with the Hulk. So
Mm-hmm.
how would you know about anything else? Like, there's just too much risk and problems that I feel is just irresponsible. And then they was like, yo, well, didn't you break him out? He's like, well, see you later. Like, it was funny that he left when he was like, I ain't got time for
Yeah,
this
yeah.
shit.
When he's
But
like, you could go to jail for that, and he's like, oh, gotta go.
right,
Yeah,
right.
that was
Like, that
funny.
was funny, but it don't change the fact of like the reasoning is dumb. They watered down Abomination. I'm like, just because you want to break him out or put him on the Thunderbolts, it doesn't mean that you have to destroy the character in the process. Because I'm like,
Right.
based off of what he said, oh, I choose not to turn and stuff. Then why is he then gonna suddenly decide to turn because somebody
Mm-hmm.
tells him that he should be doing it? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
don't make sense to me.
And then who's to say you put him on the Thunderbolt, he's not gonna go back and want power again and be strong? You know what I
Right,
mean? Or want to beat up on the Hulk again? Who's to say that? But it seems
right,
like
hmm
MCU has this fucking bullshit way of taking their villains and making them good. I don't like that.
right. That's another thing I was mentioning too. I was like, I don't know what it is where they just make them all good and stuff. And then even like I told him, it's like with some of them, eventually they become anti-heroes, but the problem is that
Mm-hmm.
when you skip to that right away, you don't show that they're evil, so those things
Mm-hmm.
don't mean anything. It's a
Right.
progression, right? So without the
Mm-hmm.
progression, no one cares because you don't see where they came from. And then also if you find out, it just feels unnatural. It's like, how did he go from this to doing poems and shit, and then all of a sudden now he's going to do it because the government told him? I'm like, why wouldn't he just turn them down if he says he has the eight wives or whatever and they all
Mm-hmm.
providing for him? So he has all
Mm-hmm.
that ass and he's gonna step away and be Abomination and possibly get killed to get away from them. Like, it doesn't make sense for him to do that. There's nothing in it for him except for possible trouble, except for that he might revert back. Because what if he's in his Abomination form for like 20 minutes, right? it starts to corrupt his mind and stuff. What if it's like a length of time thing? Like you said, what if he reverts back? Like, hey, man, I didn't realize if I stayed in it this long, I'd get stronger. And it like, it don't, it just seemed like a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Abomination is not US agent or Yelena, somebody where you could sit them down. You know, maybe you could convince them. I'm like, this is Abomination. That shit is all over the place. 1 minute he might be fine, but what if somebody attacks him the wrong way? Then his rage gets out of control. There's so many ways that can go wrong.
And I don't remember Abomination ever being able to change back into human form.
Right. Usually when he's Abomination, he stays that way. Right. Because it was like, if I remember correctly, when it was the early phase, the key is the early phase, right? Then it's just like once he changed and he was just stuck like that. And then he had to figure out what to do. And you can argue that, okay, he got nicer, but he was still always very aggressive. He always wanted to go to violence right away. He was never like, I'm going to write some poems and all this stuff. Like, it's weird that they did that. So some individuals, they like that because it made them laugh. But to me, it wasn't funny. It was just ridiculous that he would be like that. Like, I wanted him to be a threat because you had that black guy. He had all this stuff. Stay away from the prisoner. Don't step over the line. He is very dangerous. And then you get there. I'm like, is this the guy you were talking about? Because that don't match none of the stuff that you were building up to Jen. Like, what's dangerous about him? All he seems is apologetic and, you know, and that kind of stuff. What's dangerous about him? I mean, he could potentially be dangerous, but you made it sound like as soon as she's stepping there, he's going to be trying to jump out the cage and like, oh my God, you're Bruce Banner's cousin, right? That's what I would have been cool. Like, you see it like, oh, so the cousin, and then he just like changes and like, yep, I'm going to get out of here one day and I'm going to kill you both. Like something like that, you know?
And then he changes to Abomination and he's playing with his slippers and trying to show that he has control. And I'm just like, oh my God, what are we doing here?
Right. Because they were scared when he changed, right? And then they just like started to calm down a little bit. They were like, man, this dude playing with his slippers and stuff.
They're all fucking scared and screaming and shit. Isn't he behind like a fucking glass thing that even if he turns into Abomination, he's not supposed to be able to break out of that?
Right. That's right.
What the fuck are you scared of?
I was saying the same thing because I was like, okay, they wouldn't put him in some stuff that he can easily get out of, obviously, right? And then all the guards came in. I'm like, okay, so either y'all didn't make this right or you're just overreacting, especially that this man was talking about poetry and shit. I'm like, what you got to be afraid of, right? So then, like you said, he starts playing with his slippers. Then they sat back down. I'm just like, if you don't release this man, then I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I'm like, how could he possibly be dangerous at this point? I'm like, he changed and he had that nice little voice. And I'm like, the one from the Incredible Hulk movie would kill that one. That's what I think. He killed in 2 seconds. I'm like, that has to 100%. Be. It seemed like they took this one. They're like, hey, look, he's more comic book accurate. I'm like, I don't care about that if the personality's not on point. That other Abomination, I was worried about the Hulk. Remember, the Hulk was just the blood and stuff, and then Hulk got mad, and then he choked him out with that chain, Nzo. That shit was amazing. Like, I love the fact that he was hitting him in his chin, and then you see the Hulk's big ass teeth, and he's just like, I'm tired of your shit. And then he almost killed Abomination. I'm like, and then he did that amazing roar that he does. I was like, that shit was incredible. But then we get
MCU
doing poetry, right? And then he's like, then Hulk is over here eating Cheetos and stuff, and then you know you have these humans talking about what's wrong with Cheetos. I'm like, you're missing the point. It's the combination of everything, right? And I just
absolutely.
But yeah, I'm almost done with this, man. Like I don't know, like I don't know if I could do the whole show. I mean, I might, but I'm really dreading the idea.
I will too, but I don't like when I forgot it was even on. I was like, oh shit, fuck, She-Hulk today. Oh yeah. Oh,
yep, me too. I was just like, and I was thinking to myself because I like, what the hell was I doing? I was with my friends and stuff, and I was just like, something was supposed to drop or something, right? And then we were just talking like, and then they were thinking on it too, like it wasn't no Star Wars or nothing. Right? I was like, nah. I was like, it's something else. And then we had to literally sit down And then we're on Hulu, Netflix, and Netflix always dropping stuff. I'm like, nah, it's not
Mm-hmm.
Netflix. I'm like, yep. Then we went on the Disney Plus, and we had to see it on the interface, like, oh shit, it's She-Hulk that dropped. And then we
She-Hulk.
watched it. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, that's funny as hell that we literally were going through the different shit. Like, what the fuck are we thinking about the drop? Like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but yeah, it's just one of those
Because
things, man.
it's not really entertaining. You know what I mean? It's not to where like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, She-Hulk's going on, I gotta watch it. It's just like, okay, She-Hulk's on. Let's see what they're doing this week. And I find
Right,
that the episodes they're just they're not entertaining. Like I don't want to watch a fucking lawyer show. I want to watch a She-Hulk show.
right.
You know what I
And I
mean?
just
I don't give a
right.
fuck
I'm
about a
I'm
lawyer
like
show. That show should be secondary.
right, just like in her comics, like you read the Savage and the Sensational She-Hulk. She was doing the lawyer stuff, but she was hulking out a lot because she
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be the Hulk, right? She was out there like, oh, how
Mm-hmm.
can I help people and stuff, and she was really going through some stuff. I'm like, the one in the show, her problems are her own. Like that's what it is. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, you ain't got to feel that way. You ain't got to look at it that way. You can get a better friend because her friend be getting on my nerves. I'm just like,
Yeah, me
you
too.
don't have any problems here. It's like, now granted, she didn't ask for the blood and stuff, but I'm like, aside from that, the rest of that stuff is not real problems. I'm like, this is what's bothering you. And then they had
Yeah.
that little reflective moment, like at the end when she beat up those guys, and then she was looking in the reflection of the car window, and I guess we're supposed to feel sorry for her. I'm like, no, you're She-Hulk, you're fine. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is the problem here? Somebody showed up with weapons. Okay, that's like any given issue of her comic book series that comes with the flow. Like, why do I need to feel bad for you when you could just beat them all anyway? And one of your most
Absolutely.
popular villains showed up and you beat her in 2 seconds. And it's like, what was
Mm-hmm.
the reason for her to be there? Like, everything is going by so quick, and they're focused on the lawyer stuff and her complaining. I'm like, if she's not having fun, why am I supposed to have fun? If the main
Facts.
character ain't having fun. The only time
Facts.
she was having fun was when she was twerking with Megan the Stallion. I'm like, okay, well, it,
Mm-hmm.
it, I fine, but it's just that's what you have to do because there's nothing else here. Like
And you twerking
it's
with no fucking ass.
right.
You know what I mean? What the fuck you
Like
twerking? You ain't got nothing there.
that
And
that
it's a
shit was
CGI
weird.
fucking Hulk too. That like someone said, you could have at least fucking added some booty on that. You know what I
Right.
mean? You
They
could have added some sort of booty.
right. You can add shit with CGI. That could have just been like even the moment we could have been like, wait a minute, I don't think she had that all the time. It don't matter, it was just for the moment. But it was like
Mm-hmm.
you sit there, you go through the credits and stuff, and they got these different scenes, and I'm like, I, okay, like it's not adding to anything. I don't. Oh boy, man, I picture like I don't know what's gonna happen with whatever Daredevil was supposed to do. He probably gonna flip off or something, and she gonna stare at him because he's a man, and then she might backhand him or something, or they'll have him flipping off of her because she's She-Hulk, and then I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Because they'll
weird.
probably start off fighting and then end up
Right,
as
right,
friends. You know what I mean?
right,
Like
right.
they
I,
always
I
do.
just right, and I just don't want him to show up just to get beat up, and then they come to a conclusion that's like, why couldn't you? It just would match the lingo of the show. I'm just like, okay, why
Absolutely.
why is he there like that? Like, what's happening? Because it seemed like
Mm-hmm.
these characters are just randomly popping up. Like, why is he attacking She-Hulk, or why is she attacking him? What's the point? Oh, I'm after this
Mm-hmm.
one criminal, and you couldn't talk to her as Matt Murdock. Like he
Mm-hmm.
does that a lot all the time in the comics. Like he doesn't just usually show up and just start beating people up for no reason. There's like a vetting process. Him also being a lawyer, like haven't we
Mm-hmm.
seen how many times, and even in his own show, he would go through all this process, and then when he's just like, man, they escaped the clutches of the justice system. Hey, Matt, you wanna go to a movie? Not tonight. I got work to do with it. Then we already know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like that shit is just weird. I just no. I'd rather watch The Walking Dead. I feel like The Walking Dead low key be having better shit than what I've been seeing currently in the
Oh
MCU.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, 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 for sure,
you
hands
know,
down. I don't think the MCU or even Disney Star Wars. I don't think they know how to make episodes. They
I,
just don't know how to do
mhm.
it. Episodic shows, they don't know how to do it because they all are weird or stupid in their own little way, but I don't
Right.
think they know how to do it well.
Right. And then they be too short, and in the last 2 or 3 episodes they
Right.
try to rush
Mm-hmm.
everything out. Like, oh look, wait,
Mm-hmm.
look who's showing. Oh my God. And I'm like, why don't you
Mm-hmm.
just make it good the whole time? Don't you know that that's bad storytelling for you to wait to the end of your season to do something?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because it
And then you rush
first,
everything in the final episode.
hmm right, and it just and then sometimes you change your own rules of your stuff, like in Moon Knight or something. I'm just like, look,
Mm-hmm.
first impressions are important. Your first episode is very important because that's what everyone's going to talk about. Did you see it? Oh yeah, that
Absolutely.
first episode was fire. Oh my God. And it's supposed to get you talking about what could possibly be in the rest of the season, not, man, that shit was weak. I don't know if I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
watch the rest. Like, that's not good. Like, maybe in the middle you can have some kind of mediocre stuff, and then towards the end then you just make it amazing again. That's your area where you can have a little bit of dip. But you're not
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do that at the beginning. You damn
Or
sure
the
not
end.
supposed to do that end. Right. The
Absolutely.
first and the
100%.
last impression. So, and then like how you said and I've said and many others have said, we know for the most part how it's going to play out, right? It's like that formula, and this is what they do with the Disney Plus shows. Like, when you consume them enough, you know what they're going to do. They're going to start
Mm-hmm.
off kind of weird, and then maybe towards the end somebody shows up and it leads into this movie, maybe. But we have to wait for all that, though.
Yep. Absolutely. And there's what,
So
like 8 episodes of this or 9 episodes of this She-Hulk shit?
something like that, yeah.
It's like fuck, bro. I gotta stick here and watch this for all these episodes. I don't know if I can do it because it's
Right.
just not entertaining to me at all, bro. At all.
And then she had the nerve to break the fourth wall. Like, hey, this ain't gonna be no cameo show. This is still my show. I'm like, I tell you what.
And then talks about all the cameos.
Right, right. It's just, I was like, come on, like, so I was like, I'll tell you what. If Daredevil is actually good, that's all anybody's gonna talk about. Because She-Hulk herself
Mm-hmm.
ain't worth talking about, right? You depending on what
Facts.
Wong does, what his power. But oh my God, Wong opened the door to this dimension, and we saw
Mm-hmm.
Dormammu, and I'm just like, that's what happens when your main character ain't that good. Ask Iron Fist. Everybody upstaged him in his own show. Like, just
Yep.
you don't do that. That's a huge no-no. I'm like, whatever your title is, Batman, Daredevil, Wonder Woman, She-Hulk, they should be the best one. It shouldn't be that they're the
Absolutely.
worst and everyone else is better. That's a mistake to me.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that. 100%. Everybody else should be better, and the rest of them. I mean, you should be better, and everybody else should be secondary.
Right. All they should do is compliment you. Like, oh, that's that
Mm-hmm.
character pretty cool right there. Like, if they do something with him, that'll be cool. It's a setup, right? Because your
Yep.
supporting characters, they're supposed to be supporting. That's why they're there. They're not supposed to be the main ones in the sense that they're
Mm-hmm.
the most interesting. Because how does that come across as an audience member where you see She-Hulk take up the whole screen, but you busy talking about, oh, I wonder what this person's gonna do or what that person's gonna do. You're not even thinking about the main character.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, it is what
Yeah.
it is. We'll see what happens with the next episode. I'm not sure what the next episode of Walking. Actually, I didn't watch it because I'm ahead of you, week ahead of you. So I didn't watch last week's episode, which I'm gonna watch that, and I also gotta watch the first episode of Stargirl that just started.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That Pete,
Did you
like,
watch it yet?
yeah, it's like, so it's starting off a little slow, but it's not bad. It's just more of like they're setting up some pieces. I have a
Mm-hmm.
feeling of what they're gonna do, and if they're gonna do that, then that'll be like a nice little, like, by the time you get to the middle and the end, like that shit's gonna be popping. So it's just more of like, try to be patient with it because there is stuff being set up. So that's how I feel about this first one. Is like, it's a little slow, but they're setting up things that will be necessary later, assuming that they do certain things. So,
Yeah, I'm
and then
definitely gonna check it out.
but yeah, like this alpha episode though, to me, is more interesting than She-Hulk's entire show because it's alpha. I was just busy sitting there trying to figure out what she was gonna do, if it was gonna lead to this. You know what I mean? Like, there was a certain
Mm-hmm.
kind of investment and excitement level. So and
Absolutely.
Alpha don't even got no powers, but she's a beast character. So, to wrap it up, that's what I was telling my friend's dad, because he was just like, "Do you think a lot of guys don't like it because she's a female?" And I was like, "No, because when it comes to certain female characters, we like them." And then I mentioned the whole alpha thing, and he saw it, right. He was like, "Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
was the wasn't she like a main villain?" He was like, because he didn't see like all of it, but he seen like a little bit with her. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yeah, she was, and she was one of the best villains in that entire universe." He was like, "Yeah, she was pretty cool," and I was like, "Yeah, I like her a lot. I was excited to see her episode, and I did enjoy it. In fact, I was just irritated that it wasn't longer. That just goes to show you, great character, great storytelling, and I wanted more. Why would I want more if it's bad? You know what I'm saying?"
Absolutely.
So you just need to be on point, and then guys, girls, kids, everybody get behind it. That's really all you need. Instead, you can't make your stuff boring and then get mad when everybody's not talking it up like it's the best thing in the world. I don't know what to tell you.
Facts. Facts. 100%. And yeah, like I said, it's a good one, but like you said, um, it's killing She-Hulk for me. It's killing She-Hulk
Hmm.
for me.
Hmm.
So, yeah, but with that being said, we are going to close it up. I'm going to let Terrence shout out his channel real quick one last time. Terrence, tell the people where they can find you, sir.
Oh yeah, thank you, brother. Hey humans, Terrence here. You can find me on T Virus Terrence. Over there, at this point, you have approximately 5,300 videos to sift through. They've all been organized into over 100 playlists, and just to make it easy to navigate through the channel, because I always say there's everything under the sun, because it is. It's like, if you go on the channel and then you just look at the recent uploads, they're all over the place in terms of the topics, reviews, scenes, this and that, and this and that. And somebody might be going, "What's the direction of this channel?" But if you go over to the playlist and you just, before you even click on them, you just scroll down and look, there's so much there. There's over 1,000 topics. There's so many things that are there that you're not going to know until you look through the channel. And when that happens, I feel like at that point, the person is going to want to stay longer, just because they be curious. Like, how is it, like, what's with all these interests like that he has? And, oh, it's like, what is his thoughts on this, or why did he do that? And that kind of curiosity could lead to possible entertainment, as long as your mind is open, because I want you to think about certain things. It's never about, you have to agree with me or anyone else. It's just me speaking on things. And if you like it, cool. Then if you don't, maybe there's something else that you might like. But I think really just an open mind and just your ability to explore, you're going to find some gold on my channel. I know that, it's one of those things where, certain humans, they might be like, "Nah, fuck this guy. This shit is weird," or I don't like how he talks," or whatever. That's messed up. But just ignore that. You always got to form your own opinion, and it might just be the place for you to be. So check out T Virus Terrence.
Absolutely. And you guys done know I am Big Ford Entertainment. Appreciate everybody that comes in to watch these shows that we do, and they said, "Oh, I'll see it on the replay." Yeah, check it out on the replay, man. If you missed the show, it's all good. I know at certain times of the day it's like hard to, people are all doing stuff or so, but we do it because it's fun. We like talking about The Walking Dead, and we'll be talking about the other episodes that come on. I think there's 4 more now.
Let's see. It's been three. I think there's six, right? So there's
Oh,
three
three
more.
more. Okay, 3 more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So
we'll be here doing this one, guys. But other than that, peace, love, and hair grease, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Brainstorming, rain stay pouring all over the court. Check your trade scoring, a rational activist. Others remain dormant, factual passages. Able to wage war when time call for it. Burn fire upon corporate setting his back. Sun is fall forward. See the big picture. Don't get stuck on small portraits. Tap resources, your three inner forces. Mind, body, and soul working like piano chords. Linking the piece together from the root like Neanderthals. Reserving animalistic behavior when I convert into the cross satanic spiritual savior. Words that are used are the truth if I never gave ya anything else in your life. remember words that I breathe on this mic. I print people a copy to read what I write. Tell it fast like Mach speed on a bike. Like a native chief, I speak and bring peace with a pipe. Subtle as a thief in the night with beats that I like. Check the I'm blacking out like Slobodan Milosevic. Hold that, take some with you. Eternal pain when New Jerusalem hit you. Fall back, don't press the issue with script, lock, split check, Bethlehem officials.